Happening right now, a SWAT situation is underway in northeast Albuquerque, and it has been for 12 hours. Police say it began at 5 yesterday evening on Moon between Hannett and Aspen. They say a man sexually assaulted his ex-girlfriend, then barricaded himself inside. The woman was able to get free, but police say the man is threatening suicide. Police are asking you to avoid the area of Moon between Constitution and Indian School. We're staying on top of the latest in this developing situation. As soon as we learn more, we'll pass that information along to you. Developing this morning, police say another hit-and-run suspect is on the run in Albuquerque.
Yeah, this time the victim is a 10-year-old little boy. Police say the boy was crossing Broadway near Cesar Chavez when a blue four-door car hit him, then took off. It happened just before 6 last night. He was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. There's no word on his condition this morning. Police have not released any further information on that blue car either. The search for the man who hit an APD officer then took off is over this morning. Police say this is the man responsible for hitting the officer on I-40 near Rio Grande yesterday. Thomas Stavros told police he swerved out of his lane to avoid a car, then ran into off-duty officer Raymond Loomis. Loomis was on a motorcycle. Stavros' mother told us he left the scene because he was scared. A witness took down the 21-year-old's license plate number. That's how police were able to track him down. His mother says he was ready to turn himself in, though.
Did you guys encourage him to say you need to do the right thing to go to police or anything like that?
Oh, he did that all on his own. Once he had calmed down from whatever just happened, he was out of breath to think about it.
Police say they have no record of Stavros trying to contact them. Loomis remains in critical condition with head trauma this morning. Another APD officer has been in the hospital for almost a month after a lieutenant accidentally shot the undercover cop during a botched drug bust. APD tells us Jacob Grant is still in serious condition and will likely be in the hospital for a long time. Grant was shot while inside a car at Tramway and Central in the middle of a $60 meth buy. One of the suspects pulled out a gun. Police now know it was a pellet gun. It's now 5:04. The city says they've done what they can, and now it could be eviction day for dozens of homeless people set up at Tent City.
But there could be one thing that might put a stop to getting those people removed today. News 13's Catherine Mazzone is taking a look at an emergency petition filed to keep them there. Catherine?
Well, that's right, Adam. A judge is expected to make a ruling today on that emergency petition filed yesterday by an Albuquerque attorney. Now, since last week, the city has been out there letting people know what resources are available to them and offering those services to get people into shelter, inpatient treatment, or detox centers. Albuquerque police have also been out there after reports of crimes. They've made some arrests for things like drugs and prostitution. Attorney Joseph Coffey filed the emergency petition, saying the city shouldn't tear down Tent City on First and Iron without a hearing.
These people are like between a rock and a hard place, literally, between the fence and the curb here. And yet, for some reason, the city has to get them out of here. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Now, as of yesterday, the city hadn't seen the petition. We wanted to be live from Tent City this morning, but after speaking with police, we decided it wasn't safe enough. Back to you, Adam.
Catherine, thanks. The city's goal is to landscape the area and eventually create what's known as an innovation trail where people can walk from the rail yards to downtown. One New Mexico lawmaker wants everyone to wear a helmet while riding a motorcycle. Right now, it's only against the law for people under the age of 18 to be without a helmet. Senator Gerald Ortiz-Pino's proposal would make helmets the law for adults now, and it would also require passengers to have one. If the bill passes, failure to wear a helmet would be a misdemeanor and a $300 fine. It's been more than a decade since a new helmet law has been introduced. The idea has always been met with opposition from motorcycle groups and other lawmakers.
And we put together the facts for you. In 2012, there were 62 motorcycle deaths in New Mexico. 39 of those victims were not wearing a helmet. 19 states in the U.S. have helmet laws for adults.
5:06 this morning, 3 teen boys accused of brutally beating 2 homeless men to death will be tried later this year. Alex Rios, Nathaniel Carrillo, and Gilbert Tafoya are all charged with murder. Police say they beat those 2 men as they slept in a lot near 60th and Central last July. The teens are being treated as serious youthful offenders, which means they can face an adult sentence if convicted. Their trial is now set for October 19th. APD is searching for this man in connection with a recent murder. He was caught on surveillance video from a 7-Eleven near the crime scene at San Mateo in Catherine. Police found the body of 36-year-old Lawrence Chapman around midnight on Sunday into Monday. He had been shot to death, and if you recognize this man, you're asked to call APD.
It's now 5:07. The U.S. is taking action after the brutal execution of a Jordanian fighter pilot at the hands of ISIS militants. CBS News says the Pentagon will deploy search and rescue helicopters in northern Iraq to try to reduce the time and distance to reach downed pilots. The Jordanian pilot was captured by militants when his plane crashed in Syria during a bombing raid in December. The group released a video Tuesday that depicts him being burned alive while locked in a cage. In response, Jordan executed 2 convicted al-Qaeda prisoners and went on more bombing raids against the terror group. The Jordanian king now saying the only problem they'll have is running out of fuel and bullets.
New and developing this morning, a major health insurance company is apologizing after a massive data breach. Anthem, the country's second largest health insurer, says hackers stole names, birthdays, social security numbers, and other personal information. Tens of millions of people could be affected today. Anthem says there is no evidence that credit card or medical information was compromised. Still, the company is offering free credit monitoring and identity protection services to affected customers.
Developing now, federal investigators are on scene in New York gathering evidence after the fiery commuter train collision with an SUV. 5 people on board the Metro North train died in the horrific crash. The driver of the Jeep also died. Investigators will examine data recorders on the crossing gates and on the train itself to figure out why the vehicle was stopped on the tracks in the first place. Time now.
Happening right now, a SWAT situation in northeast Albuquerque has been underway for more than 12 hours. Police say it began at 5 yesterday evening on Moon between Hannett and Aspen. They say a man sexually assaulted his ex-girlfriend, then barricaded himself inside. That woman was able to get free, but police say the man is now threatening suicide. Police are asking you to avoid the area of Moon between Constitution and Indian School. We're staying on top of the latest in that unfolding situation. As soon as we learn more this morning, we'll pass it along to you. Meantime, the city set today as the deadline for homeless campers to leave Tent City or face eviction.
But an emergency petition filed by an Albuquerque attorney could put things on hold. Take a listen.
These people are like between a rock and a hard place, literally, between the fence and the curb here. And yet, for some reason, the city has to get them out of here. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Joseph Coffey filed the emergency petition yesterday saying the city should not tear down Tent City without a hearing first. A judge will likely make a decision on the request today. As of yesterday, the city had not seen the petition. The city has been trying to help people find a place to go there. Now, while some are trying to block the city's efforts, some who live there say they're ready to leave.
They're accepting the help that the city is giving them. News 13's Catherine Mazzone has their story.
Well, that's right, Adam. Some have taken up residency at Tent City for a year or more. They say it's a tough life, but felt they had few other options.
I was scared to get out too because this is all I know. This is all I know is the hustle of the street. And it's scary, you know, but change is good.
Faith Flores says she's been a functioning drug addict all her life. She's divorced, lost custody of her daughters, and says she has had nowhere else to go. Now, with the city coming in to clear out Tent City, people like Flores are welcoming the move. St. Martin's gave her a voucher, 10 days at a motel. Flores says she's already been detoxing from heroin on her own. Now, with the guarantee of 10 days off the streets, Flores hopes she can move forward with her recovery and clean up her life. She says the thought of starting over is scary, but so is the alternative. Flores says she doesn't understand why people are resisting the move.
This is what everybody wanted. They wanted help. Now that they're getting help, they don't want to budge, they don't want to move, they don't want to do their part. It don't make sense. It don't make sense.
Now, it's unclear as to the exact time the city wants people like Flores packed up and gone. Flores, however, has already left on Tuesday. Back to you, Adam.
Thanks, Catherine. Flores says she's been homeless now for 5 years. Before Tent City, she says she lived outside with blankets. A New Mexico congresswoman is co-sponsoring federal legislation calling for a special prosecutor in each state to investigate deadly police shootings. If passed, every governor would appoint a prosecutor who would decide if an officer should face charges. Congresswoman Michelle Lujan Grisham says the law is needed to remove potential conflicts of interest for prosecutors who work closely with police.
It's now 5:35. The death of one of the Rio Grande Zoo's Tasmanian devils in October could spark a new law. A representative is proposing legislation that would make it a petty misdemeanor to go into an animal enclosure or touch an animal without permission. That means it could come with a punishment of up to 6 months in jail and a big fine. The city says it's still unclear if someone killed Jasper, the Tasmanian devil, or if there was only an accident. The city does support this bill. A similar proposal passed the House 4 years ago but died in the Senate. The death of Jasper is not the only incident that's raised eyebrows at the zoo. In 2004, an attempt to pet the jaguar at the Rio Grande Zoo ended with a man losing a finger. Then in 2010, remember this, college students broke into the zoo to snap close-ups in the giraffe, sea lion, and rhino exhibits.
Time is 5:35. A new proposal would let the lottery pay a smaller cut of the millions it raises to students. Right now, state law requires 30 cents of every dollar to be spent on lottery tickets to go into the lottery scholarship fund. Deming Democrat John Arthur Smith, though, wants to remove that requirement, saying it handcuffs the lottery and keeps prize payouts low. He says without it, more players would play and ultimately more money would be raised for students.
We're wanting to bring more scholarship money to the bottom line for the students.
With the lottery's plan, the only people that are bearing the risk if it doesn't work are the students.
Since the 30% requirement was first put on the books, more money has gone into scholarships, but lottery sales are down significantly. Smith's bill also allows lottery players to buy tickets with credit or debit cards, which isn't allowed now.
Listen to this story. A man who thought he was a big winner is suing the New Mexico Lottery. John Wines bought the scratch ticket in Roswell that says he won more than $500,000. The lottery says it was a misprint, though. But as Wines told Fox News, he thinks the lotto should pay for its mistake.
If I was the lottery, I think they should pay. I mean, it's their ticket. I did not print the ticket. It goes along with anything else you do. If you make a mistake, you pay for it.
But here's the catch. The fine print on the back of the ticket states, quote, liability for misprinted ticket disputes is limited to the refund of the sales price, meaning he'll get a couple of bucks. The New Mexico Lottery told us they don't comment on current lawsuits.
We're learning more about why Flying Star restaurants could be filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The popular restaurant chain announced last week that it's closing its slower stores in Santa Fe and Bernalillo and reorganizing. The company's court filing shows it owes more than $6 million to creditors, but according to the Albuquerque Journal, the company has also accused its chief operating officer and financial officer of financial improprieties. They were fired last year. Owners claim the COO, Clyde Harrington, gave himself unauthorized bonuses, used the company credit card for personal charges, and failed to pay vendors. Former CFO Donna Schmidt is accused of letting it all happen. Harrington and Schmidt are suing the company for a contractual dispute, and Flying Star filed a counterclaim. Developing right now, rescue crews are back at the site of a deadly plane crash in Taiwan.
We now know what the pilot said moments before dashcam video captured the plane plunge into a river this morning. The search continues for the missing. The crash caught on dashcam shows the plane gliding down from the sky, the wing clipping a taxi, then dropping into the river. Officials now saying the pilot reportedly called Mayday 3 times before contact was lost. More than 30 people were killed. 15 survived, including some small children. Several are still missing this morning. Investigators say now that they've recovered the plane's black box recorders, it will help them determine exactly what happened there.
Should